this time, this is a request video, um, a response to a request being made into a video. And the question that I received from one of my subscribers was about correctly doing a front kick, particularly a Muay Thai front kick. Now, this is going to be just what I understood and from what has been taught to me from my basic Muay Thai class. So I'm going to try my best to break it down into terms that could really easily be understandable. So without further ado, let's begin. So as you know, sometimes Muay Thai stances is like this. Some Muay Thai practitioners would rather have their lead foot, at least the heel, raised up. So like so. Like this. Now, in order for you to do a front kick, I think the correct term is teep. So teep would be like so. Now, the problem that the subscriber told me was that the person can't hold his or her balance whenever he or she was doing the teep kick. So she or he either can do this motion, or he or she was actually falling back trying to kick. Now, the first problem that I noticed from doing that might be because of the tilting of the hip. So as I turn side view here, now in order for you to correctly do a teep or a Muay Thai front kick, push kick, you have to actually learn how to tilt your pelvis first. Now, it might sound difficult, but as you progress in your practice, you'll soon be able to learn and feel your own body, especially when you're practicing martial arts or shadow boxing, because you're eventually going to feel the joints of your body, and one of those major joints is the hip. We all know that you can rotate the hip from side to side, just like in doing hip rotations, like so. And that's kind of easy. But when it comes to doing front and back, it's a bit difficult to practice or difficult to remember because it's not really instinctive. Whereas this one is a little bit instinctive. So to demonstrate, here's her hip. Okay, this portion right here is her hip. Yes, including the buttocks here. Now, the main objective that you should do, that you should achieve with your hip when you're going to do a front kick for Muay Thai, is to actually have your hip like this. See, I came from this normal position and I moved my hip forward. I'm tilting it forward, like so. Again, so move closer here in order for you to see clearly. My hip is in a natural position. I tilt forward. See, again, and tilt forward. Now that's a very important key, because when you tilt your hip forward, just like what I demonstrated a while ago, and I'll demonstrate it again in a little while, your kicking leg, in this case the right leg, if you're a right-hander, your kicking leg will naturally go up, and it's easier to raise your leg that way because you're actually contracting your muscles in order for you to have that energy or that momentum to actually do the kick. Because if you're just going to rely on just your leg alone, there'll be no power that much. And if you forcefully kick using your leg without the tilting of your hips forward, then you're going to actually injure yourself. So you have to actually practice this, okay? You have to practice the tilt of your hip forward or up, as you can see here. It takes practice, but as you'll feel, it is much better in doing the kick. So let me demonstrate to you doing the push kick, Muay Thai push kick without the tilt of the hip, and doing the Muay Thai push kick with the tilt of the hip. So without the tilt of the hip, it's going to look like this. See, your reach is shorter, and your leg is actually closer to the ground, and your kick is lower. That is a good kick if you're just aiming on here, on the lower portion of the body. But what I remember is that you actually want to aim on the stomach or on the midsection right here, because it's a bigger target for you to do the push kick, and it's easier to push your opponent back. So instead of just being here without tilting the hip, it's not as effective as you would expected it to be. In fact, there's a huge chance that your kick will slip off. So instead of doing this motion right here, there's a tendency that because of the level of your kick, which is too low, and it's not really hitting the midsection right here, the stomach area, your kick will tend to slip. Especially if your opponent is in a bladed position, not in a frontal position. So your kick will tend to do that. But if your hip is tilted forward like this, whenever you're going to do a push kick, so if I'm going to do the tilted hip aspect, see the difference? So non-tilted, just right here, just all leg. You're trying to fold your knee in as much as you can, and then try to kick, but they'll just reach there, just reach this level. Whereas if you're going to do at the tilt of the hip, it's much higher, and you're actually going to have more reach, and you're actually going to hit the target area, which is this portion right here. So again, front view for difference, no tilt. With the tilt. Again, this side, no tilt of the hip. With the tilt of the hip. So that's one difference. That's one of the problems that I see, basing from the question where he or she has problem in doing the Muay Thai push kick. Another problem that I have seen from a different angle might be because of the strength of the balancing leg. And if balance is your issue, then you might want to practice with doing the push kick, Muay Thai push kick, with your back against the wall first, in order for you to feel also the tilt again of your hip going forward before you raise your knee to do the actual kick. You might want to do that a few repetitions, practice that up until you get away from the wall incrementally, until you can actually stand on your leg or your non-kicking leg alone and hold this position for a while, and come back up until you're comfortable doing the extension of the leg, and then eventually doing the kick. Now, another problem is that if you're trying to retract your leg after you do the push kick on the Muay Thai push kick, if you're doing it on the air, it's really hard because you're actually going to hurt your joints, especially the joints of your kicking leg in doing that. So you might want to have a little bit of resistance, say a wall, for example. So you're just going to do a tiptoe push kick on the wall. So you're actually going to kick with this part of your feet, from the ball of your foot up until the toes on the wall. Then just come back. Push. Let's imagine that there's a wall in front of me. Push and then come back. Push and then come back. Kind of like you're just tapping your foot on the wall, but in reality, you're actually going to push your opponent away, and what that happens is because of that force, your opponent, believe it or not, because of physics, also responds by giving that force back, even though he doesn't want to. And so the tendency will be that you're going to be able to retract your leg back, your kicking leg back easier. So that's another thing. Last but not the least is landing the kick, especially in the air. What if you miss? So, as you have already noticed, whenever I do this kick, I land here. And I'm actually open for any kind of strike. In fact, if I do a Muay Thai punching here, I'm actually left open on this side by a Muay Thai roundhouse. Or if I put my guard down, my left arm down, I'm actually open with an elbow or a punch. Or maybe my opponent can do another push kick and I'll be off balance. So the best thing that you can do is to actually not fully commit on the kick, because the push kick in Muay Thai is not actually a power kick. It's supposed to be a defensive move and sometimes a counter move if you're really actually good in using it. And what I mean by a counter move is that if you remember the movie Ong Bak, there's a fight scene there where Tony Jaa used the very front kick itself, and he has the flexibility to raise his knee up higher, even as high as his chest, in order for him to kick his assailant's face down to the ground. So for demonstration, it's going to look like this. So instead of aiming the midsection, the stomach section, he was aiming for the chin, the face. But that's only for a counter move, for a counter measure when you're actually sparring or fighting in the ring, or for self-defense purposes. But I strongly suggest not to use it for self-defense because give or take, it's much easier and it's much safer to hit your opponent from chest down, not the head, with kicks. So yeah, there you have it. Those are the things that I saw from the actual question that was given to me, and I hope that this video has helped you even in the smallest way possible. You have to actually train for flexibility when doing this kind of kick. It's primarily different from a karate kick because a karate or taekwondo kick or a kung fu kick sometimes are more of snaps, where in Muay Thai it's more of using the waist sometimes, or hips, and pivoting. So yeah, just take time in practicing, and incremental changes will, if you accumulate them, are already huge. So just practice these things every day, a few reps every day for each leg, not just the right, or not just your dominant leg, also your weak leg as well, in order to have a balance for power on your leg. And yeah, that's it. That'll be my response for that subscriber's question. Okay, thanks again for watching. God bless you all. Always train safe. And it's more than 120 degrees outside. Hat, burning rubber on my feet right now. So yeah, God bless you all. Always train safe, and Take care.